Everything you see and hear in this video is artificial, generated by AI. The anchorman, his voice, his script, all of it. Hey everyone, it's Michel Lévy-Provençal. I'm the virtual version of Michel, whipped up by some cool AI to give you a sneak peek of his upcoming keynote on the booming world of generative AI. Sure, ChatGPT has been making headlines, but behind the scenes, AIs are churning out text, images, videos, and so much more, boosting productivity across the board. See how generative AI is changing the game into your biz, in fields like PR, marketing, legal, HR, even learn about cloning experts with virtual brains. Are you gonna rocket your business into an amped up future or risk falling behind? So join the real Michel Lévy-Provençal, yep, the flesh and bone one, for a deep dive into the generative AI revolution. He'll show you how AI is all about supercharging day-to-day productivity. See ya!
After looking at your teaser on YouTube, Michel, I'm wondering if it's you or if it is a representation of you.
What do you think?
I'm not sure now. I'm not sure on everything.
But it was so well done. So it's like
I'm a prospectivist. I'm a futurist. My job is not to tell you what is the future, but to try to imagine many different futures and be prepared in face of those different futures. And in one of these futures, there is a potential big disruption with technology you've heard a lot in the past few months, which is AI, and particularly generative AI. And I'm going to take some time to define much more precisely what is AI and what is generative AI. What we're going to do this morning is trying to demystify what we've been hearing for months about AI, particularly generative AI, about fears, about how it works, what it's used for, what opportunities we can have as businesses. It's going to be a presentation about 1 hour, maybe a little bit more, because I have demos and specific demos about COFAS we've built for this presentation. Everything is recorded, so keep in mind this. So I will send you at the end of the presentation the transcription and a summary of this event, this small conference, and the summary and transcription will be done, of course, by an AI. So let's start. This guy you see here is Dr. Kamran Khan. He's the founder of a Canadian startup named Blue Dot. I don't know if you know Blue Dot. It's a startup that was established in 2009, and they develop AIs to scan and analyze data to predict phenomena. They use newspaper articles, airport passenger flow data, smartphone generated information to build a big database, a big data lake, and generate, analyze data, and predict phenomena. And why I'm talking about this startup? Because in 2015, Blue Dot achieved a milestone. Their AI predicted the spread of a virus, the Zika virus, nearly 6 months ahead of health authorities. In December 2019, the startup was the first to issue an alert about the risk of a new virus related to SARS that had emerged in a village in Wuhan, in China. And this was 15 days before the authorities' first COVID alert in January 6th, 2020. So artificial intelligence, especially in the recent months, has been generated a lot of fears. People worry about mass unemployment, social upheaval, they fear democratic crisis, potential manipulations. But on the other side, this technology is the brick of a new golden age in science and technology. And I choose to start with the example of Blue Dot, but I could have told you a lot of AI examples solving fundamental problems to tell you that I'm very optimistic about what AI can do. I could tell you very quickly about, for example, this startup, Orbital Insights, which analyze satellite images to monitor deforestation, or One Concern that predicts floods and earthquake to prevent disaster, or even Newton, which is an education startup that personalized student learning paths, or even Google DeepMind. You know, all of you know Google DeepMind. You have to know that this AI helps Google to cut their energy consumption by 40% in their data centers, 40%. So I could go on with a lot of examples, but I would like to start by trying to give you a definition of what we are talking about when we talk about AI, and particularly generative AI. First of all, there are different steps and different phases, different levels of artificial intelligence. The first level is what we call reactive machines. The first level, the level 1, correspond to what we used to have with, you know, those AIs that were, for example, beating Kasparov at chess. This is the first step in the late 90s of artificial intelligence coming. This kind of intelligence is very mathematical. It creates a tree of possibilities, a very large trees of possibilities, much more profound that the human brain can do, and find different scenarios, and considering those scenarios, be able to beat, for example, a chess player, because they have a lot of power, much more power than human brains. But this is the first, really the first level of AI. The second level is what we call limited memory AI. For example, AIs that can handle image recognition or decision-making assistance. This is the kind of AI that we can find today in autonomous cars, for example, looking at the environment, defining the different situations, understanding the images that they can get through cameras, and make some decisions. This is the level 2. Today, we are in the level 3 of AI, what we call weak AI. This category includes generative AI. Generative AI is a category of AI that can generate content, different kind of content, and this is what we'll see through different demos. And this is where we are today, for example, with a very known AI, which is ChatGPT, that a lot of you may have used in the past few months. The fourth level is what we call general AI, or AGI, artificial general intelligence. It doesn't exist yet, but this AI could learn, think, and solve a wide range of tasks like a human could do. This is exactly what Microsoft and OpenAI are trying to solve, are trying to create in the next few months or years. Artificial general intelligence. And the last and final step, the last and final level, is what we call super intelligence, that surpasses human intelligence in all aspects. And this is clearly science fiction. It doesn't exist. Maybe it will never exist, we don't know. Or maybe it will exist in 10 or 15 years. So what we can say today is that the capabilities of AI have skyrocketed in the last decade. We can see an exponential evolution of AI over the past 10 years. And one figure that explains that, or that illustrates that, is what the CEO of NVIDIA, Jensen Huang, said a few years ago. You know, NVIDIA is building chips that you can find, for example, in large computers that run video games, graphic cards. But they are also the chips that are used to train AIs and to inference AI or execute AIs. And the power of those chips have been multiplied by 500 in less than 5 years. For the ones who know the Moore's law, doubling the capacity of the computing power in 18 months, this represents 50 times the Moore's law. So it's huge, it's exponential. Another way to see the exponential breakthrough is the result of the introduction of ChatGPT in the market. You see in this graph that ChatGPT reached 1 million users in less than 5 days. 5 days for 1 million users. Today we have 100 million users of ChatGPT in the world. It took 75 days for Instagram to reach 1 million users and 150 days for Spotify. So you see, you can feel the acceleration of this technology and particularly the usage of this technology, the democratization of this technology. When we're talking about generative AI, of course, we're thinking about ChatGPT because ChatGPT is grabbing the spotlight, but there are millions, well, I exaggerate a little bit, thousands of solutions, myriads of solutions under the radar. And these AIs can understand, they can create images, sounds, videos, interactive 3D environments, and of course, text also. The generative AI market is today valued at $11 billion in 2023. And analysts forecast, they anticipate a minimum market of 170 billion by 2033. Some futurists even go a little bit further and multiply this figure by 5 to 6 if general artificial intelligence is achieved before 2030. So it's a huge revolution, economic revolution, but maybe social revolution and in a way, a massive breakthrough in the history of humanity. Today, when you look at the market, the breakdown of value generation by sector is, you can see it on the graph here, is at the majority in the media and entertainment sector. They are clearly at the edge of this revolution. However, you can see other sectors that trying to use this technology. You have to know that media and entertainment have always been precursor in the digital usage. So it's quite normal that we see them as early adopters in also this technology. But these technologies are moving very rapidly. And I would like to show you another example of what I mean by very quickly. You will see on the next slide 2 sets of images. The first set of images are in the left, and they have been generated by myself in, I think it was in July 2022 by an AI named Midjourney, based on one request, which is please generate a set of images of Barack Obama. And you will see the difference of the quality of the images that were generated just 9 months after that in May 2023. So you will see the difference between July 2022 and May 2023. And here are the 2 sets of images. The evolution of image generation capabilities in just 9 months is astonishing. And what we've seen with images we're going to see it also with videos.
I am not Morgan Freeman, and what you see is not real.
Is it okay now?
Yes.
Okay. So what you see here has been 100% generated by AI. Okay, it's through this technological revolution raises a lot of concerns about potential misuse, but it also offers a lot of positive opportunities. You've seen my avatar before having this discussion together today. I would show you again this another version of my avatar, another video of this avatar. I've asked to this AI to generate a TED Talk delivered by myself about the AI revolution. So it's going to be short. I think it's going to be around 30 seconds or 45 seconds, but everything you'll see here, from the image to the voice, even the text, the script, is generated by AI.
The video you are currently watching is truly special and remarkable. Nothing in this video is genuine, neither the text of the speech, nor the voice, nor the video footage. All was generated from one question. And the most surprising thing is, it took 30 minutes to complete from start to finish. This is where we are today. We are at the dawn of a new era, an era where AI is capable of creating high-quality content at a speed and cost unimaginable just a few years ago.
Everything generated by AI. Oh, we could review all the applications that can save you a ton of time in daily tasks, like writing, like correcting, creating, researching content. There are hundreds of them. But I'll give you some examples, and I have wrote a full guide of 150 pages that you can download freely online. I will send you the link if you need, to give you some examples of applications and the way you can manage, the way you can prompt the discussion with the AI to be very productive with this kind of application. But what I would like to do, first of all, is to try to tell you that the landscape, even if you learn how to use those AI today, is constantly evolving, constantly. You will need to spend around 4 hours daily to keep up with all the new development in the market. It's quite impossible. And at the same time, there's a lot of creative destruction in this market right now. A lot of startups are coming, companies like OpenAI trying to use all they see using their OpenAI API to build their own product based on the ideas of the startups that are using their API. So there is a lot of chaos in the market today. But at the same time, there's an ongoing consolidation trend. And this is a good news. This is really a good news for companies and businesses. ChatGPT, to be clear, has now become the most comprehensive solution on the market. And considering the latest news about OpenAI that you've seen maybe during the past weekend, we can say that Microsoft and OpenAI have the most comprehensive solution on the market. They integrate the different facets of generative AI as we know today. For example, text generation, image interpretation, image generation, analysis of files of any type, and we'll see some examples. Reading, generating voices. Soon they will be able to generate also videos like other startups can do. But in an ecosystem as dynamic and disruptive as this one, I remind you that just this weekend, OpenAI fired its CEO and vice president, and now they are at Microsoft. And maybe it's not finished. Maybe we will see a situation where they will come back to OpenAI, or maybe OpenAI will merge with one of their competitors, which is Anthropic, in the next few days. We don't know exactly where we're going, but anyway, it's important to keep an eye on what's happening and try to understand and learn how to integrate those technologies in our daily work. And to do so, one thing which is very, very important, particularly with the classical tools like ChatGPT, you have to understand how it works. What I mean by how it works is to, like when you're driving a car, at least understand how, at the minimum, you can understand how a car can work, you know? So I'd like to spend a few minutes discussing how this generative AI works. First of all, you have to know that it's not a new technology. It has been around for over a decade, and we've seen several tools that use generative AI. You can see in this short video how Autodesk uses generative AI to have machines conceive drones, for example, drones shapes based on constraints set by an operator. And you see the machines imagine through combination, thousands of possible shapes, different forms of drones. And then the operator can choose the form they want to build, and they build it. And you have to understand that those generative AIs are working quite the same way your completion feature on your phone is working. It's simplified, but imagine that you're facing a completion system, like your smartphone, okay? But the main difference is that AIs like ChatGPT are not basing their response only on the syntax of one word, like your iPhone does or your Android does when you write a message. But ChatGPT stands, it stands, by the way, for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. And what it does, it based on the whole context of your question or the data you're providing to build the following sentence, not only the letters, but the sentences. I will give you an example. The best way to do that is to give you an example. If you query, for example, this is the back office of ChatGPT, but if you give a context to ChatGPT, here the context is we are in the context of a study in English on the topic of the future of housing, and you're asking the system to complete the sentence, or what we call in the jargon, the tokens, okay? So you give the first letters, EX, X, and the most probable following token or a series of letters that the model can find for this first token is PERT with a probability of 40%, okay? And what does the system is exactly how your smartphone does when you write a message. It completes step by step with a calculation of probability, okay? What is the most probable token or series of letters considering the context? So you have to understand that these models, what we call large language models, don't understand what they say. They don't understand at all what they say. They are stochastic machines, okay? They are using probabilities to build sentences based on the context you give them. And what we see with text is a little bit different for images, but you have to understand that these machines don't understand at all what they're saying, generating. They're just building content based on probabilities. So the way you prompt them, the way you interact with them, the way you give them context is absolutely key on their capacity of producing high value content. And this is what I teach, for example, during my trainings to help you build the right prompt to generate the right content based on these models. And it's a big productivity revolution beyond big philosophical, melodramatic statements about jobs, about everything we've heard. You have to understand that it's comparable to past revolution, but much, 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 much faster. Today, depending on the industry and depending on how you use this technology, the initial studies show productivity gains of 15 to 30% in 2023. Myself, when I use this technology, I can see that there is a gain of productivity around 50%, particularly in generating content, marketing content, or customer relationship management, clearly 50%. And I will show you some demos about that. Many professions are already impacted by this revolution. But you have to keep in mind also that this technology, generative AI, is not going to take jobs. It's going to take tasks. And this is a big difference. It won't replace jobs. It will handle specific tasks. And this shifts the perspective entirely. It's a tool. It's a tool that boosts productivity and keeps humans in the value chain, but change their role in the value chain. I will give you some examples. For example, in the software development business, in the value chain, AI improves productivity at almost every stage after design, for code writing, testing, or documentation. A recent study showed that around 90% of productivity is gained by developers who are using these kind of tools. This was coming from GitHub Copilot. In content creation, many professions are impacted by the capability of AI in content creation, in advertising, in sales, in prospecting, in marketing, communication, in publishing, in legal professions, for building social media content, blogs, newsletter, SEO improvement. It's very, very powerful to cut the costs, speed things up, and enhance creativity. I give you some examples. For example, take this campaign by Ogilvy for Nutella. They used AI to generate 7 million unique Nutella jar labels. Okay, so they called it Nutella Unica. No human can design 7 million unique labels. Okay, it's not possible. Just AI can do that. And the 7 million Nutella pots were produced and sold. It was instantly sold because every jar was unique. So it was a kind of an art piece, you know. Another marketing campaign by Netflix, they asked their fan base on Twitter to imagine synopses for a series that they'd like to see on Twitter. So you were sending a message on Twitter asking for with a plot, and we had an AI generating the corresponding poster instantly based on the plot you sent them, and it was a huge success. A very smart move from Netflix. Another example is this Nestle campaign. You see here the perfect example of compression art. It's completion. It's clearly completion. In design, and particularly in the fashion industry and luxury industry, I've generated some content that I'm going to show you for a big French brand. A few months ago, I explored creative capacities based on a specific universe. In this case, maybe you're familiar with these kind of bags made in leather. I will not mention the brand, but I imagine you can find what brand it is. You will see just after this slide, this is a real image, by the way. Huh? This is a real image of a bag. But the image you will see are generated 100% by AI, trained on a set of contents based on the bags of these big brands. This image is 100% artificial. This also, this one also, this one also. And everything you see here, each model, by the way, is different. And everything can be done. The same way you've seen the video about the drones, a designer can select one model and decides to build it. And it has been generated for each photo. It takes around 1 minute to generate it. So you can generate thousands of these pictures and base a full collection based on it. In learning and development, it's a huge tool also. It's a non-exhaustive list of tasks that are accelerated by generative AI. You can generate ideas for programs. You can extract content from big documentations and summaries. You can storytell. You can build scenarios and role-play scenarios to help people be trained using, for example, serious game. I do it myself. You can build quiz, custom quiz. You can build videos and podcasts for training, etc., etc. This is something quite easy to do. If you want to try, I'm not going to do a demo about that, but it's very easy. Please note this URL, www.tutorai.me. And with this tool, you can generate a training program about anything. And when I say generate, it's not something you can, the database of the training are not existing. They are built depending on what you're asking. The same way ChatGPT can do it, but with a tool that is specialized to build training programs. You can try it after the conference. It's easy. You can, for example, decide to learn how AI works. You ask in French, in English, in Italian, whatever the language. You ask to build a program, and it builds the program. It builds quizzes, and it's live. It's built in real time. Okay. You can generate podcasts. I can give you an example.
Here's a non-exhaustive list of tasks that are accelerated or delegated to generative AIs. Idea generation for programs, key point extraction, summaries, storytelling enhancement for engagement, role play scenario generation,
you have to
custom quiz
understand
question
that,
creation,
I don't know if you still hear
quick video, podcast
my
creation
voice
for
on the
training,
background.
illustration,
Yeah,
image generation for courses.
Yeah.
But you have to understand that what you heard is not my real voice. It was generated by my voice avatar based on a text I wrote myself. So you can imagine that to write a full training, a script for a training, and use this voice avatar to build a podcast for the training, or even for your communication. I don't need myself to go into a studio and record myself. I just write text, put it in my voice avatar, and it generates content, and particularly podcast. And it took only 20 minutes of my voice to build it. Only 20 minutes. Using a tool named 11 Labs that you can use. You can create an account on 11 Labs, build your own voice avatar, and try to build this podcast yourself. It's really easy. You don't have to code. You can do it yourself. Same thing for videos. You can generate training videos. There are many tools. For example, LIE is a tool. Another tool named HiGen is very powerful to build videos based on avatars. What you have to understand is that with HiGen, for example, all your communication content can be generated in one language facing a camera. Somebody is speaking in French or in English, and you're putting the video into HiGen, and it translates in many languages with a perfect synchronization of your lips without going into a studio, okay?
Hola, hola a todos, estás escuchando el 10º episodio de Infraspective y vamos a tomarnos nuestro tiempo. Hello, hello everyone, you are listening to the 10th episode of Infraspective and we are going to take our time. Ciao ciao a tutti, state ascoltando il 10º episodio di Infraspective e ci prenderemo il nostro tempo. Hallo, hallo alle, Sie hören die 10. Episode von Infraspective und wir nehmen uns ausreichend Zeit dafür. Cześć, cześć wszystkim, słuchasz 10. odcinka Infraspective i będziemy sobie poświęcić trochę czasu. Namaste, सभी को नमस्ते, आप Infraspective के 10वें एपिसोड को सुन रहे हैं और हम अपना समय निकालेंगे.
Of course, I don't speak Hindi at all, okay? So even Italian nor German. But what you see here is based on the first video in French, well, it generates perfect videos in many languages. And this changes the way you can build content, for example, for your marketing. For knowledge management, it's another common application of advanced language models, building experts chatbots based on a large set of content. To give you an example of how it works, I made a short demo of an application for you, for COFAS, that works this way. Give me a second. I'm trying to open my browser. Do you see my browser?
Yes.
Yeah. When I write here, is it
Yes.
okay? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. The demo you will see here is based on we have a platform based on AI that are using the latest LLM models, and particularly the latest GPT-4 model, to be able to use a data set of content to answer questions based on this content. And what I've done this morning, I asked the tool to crawl your websites, the French COFAS website and the international COFAS website, both of them. It generated around 20 megabytes of content, and I gave these 20 megabytes of content, text mainly, to the tool, okay? And what the tool does is to answer some question based on this content. So we're going to try it. To be frank with you, we've built it this morning, and the quality of the response, I don't know if it's really, really accurate, but I've tested it 3 or 4 times, and I've prepared some questions to ask the tool. So how can COFAS, for example, COFAS, credit, insurance, help my business mitigate commercial risks? Okay, so what it does, it takes the question, it goes to the content, extract the content that corresponds to this question, and transform it into a structured response. So here's the response we have. Can you read it?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Can you tell me if it's accurate?
Mhm.
It's accurate? Okay. Anybody has a question you would like to ask to the tool? Don't be shy. Tell me. Give me a question.
What is the most successful region?
Oh,
Ah.
I don't know if I don't know if
the
it
answer.
is. The website has the information or not.
No, it's not. The website is not this information.
Okay, so give me
Even
put
without
So
yourself-
it has data that could trigger.
Yeah,
an
maybe
answer.
we could trigger.
So,
it.
yes.
Try
Maybe.
to
Okay.
see. Yeah.
Okay, we will see. But put yourself into a customer. Okay, you are a customer of COFAS and you want to ask a question. Okay. Okay, based on the context provided, the Central and Eastern Europe (CEE) region seems to be a center. The CEE top 100 companies generate a turnover.
It's not accurate.
No,
true.
it's not
It's not
accurate
accurate.
at all.
Okay, it's not accurate. So give me an answer. Give me an answer a customer could ask, because the information has to be in the website.
What is the outlook of the agro-food sector? Outlook of the
This is on the website.
Yes.
Well, like this. We'll see. We'll see. I hope. Is it accurate?
Yes, he's taking the last publication. So yes, it is.
That's a good point. In fact, it's not a black box, huh? It's a white box, because here
Yes.
it's transparent, but I can ask him to show me the content that was used to answer the question. Okay, so the contents to answer the question is here. It's a little bit condensed, but and particularly you see that there's content in English, but also maybe sometimes content in French. All right. So it takes some content coming from different parts of the websites, condense it, and try to use this content to answer the question. So for CRM, customer relation management, this is perfect. And you can imagine this kind of tools.
Yeah, it can locate the content as well. So, for example, if I want to know the source, I can know where it comes from. Because if I want to check, yeah.
Yes, you can. You can. In this version, it's not the case, but it's easy to have this information. It's a white box. It's not a black box. So,
Interesting.
coming back. In everyday tasks, there are many tools. I won't list all the applications that can save you a lot of time writing, editing, creating, researching content. But if you are interested, please look at the guide I will send you. And if you are, it's the promotional moment of the talk. If you are really interested in getting familiar with this application, I can organize a workshop and a training about that. It's a whole day workshop. I'd like to spend some time to give you some strategies to respond to this tsunami we're facing, because we're facing a tsunami of AI news, and there are two attitudes you can have. You can wait for the market to settle, that's a first strategy possible. And you can also try to follow everything's coming. As a C-level, you cannot take the time 4 hours a day to follow everything. It's not your job. It's my job to be burned out by all the news and let people like myself explore and try to give you some key elements of what's happening. On the other side, if you see the numbers, the global AI market average annual growth is around 80% between 2022 and 2027. So it's not a small signal, it's a big wave. By 2030, businesses are expected to allocate 10% of the tech spend on AI adoption. Okay, so mastering generative AI is no longer a luxury. It's a necessity. It increases productivity. It, of course, drive competition, and you will have, as all professionals, to adapt. You will have to adapt. Of course, this transition will have rough situation, just like maybe you've seen those kind of news in the medias where you've seen people that were fired because AI were replacing them. Of course, we will see this kind of news because like during the digital and even in the industrial revolution, we've seen a lot of jobs that were transformed or replaced. We don't have any travel agency, classical ones. We don't have any video stores today. Everything is online. So we will have an evolution of the jobs based on this new technology. A recent study by the World Economic Forum shows that certain jobs are indeed at risk, while others are rapidly growing with the arrival of AI. But I don't think that, by the way, only engineers and technicians will be in a good situation. There are many other jobs that will come, that will emerge based on this technology. I had fun asking an AI. Sorry, we can hear you. I don't know who has his mic. Can we close the mic? Yeah. I've had fun asking an AI to imagine the jobs that could emerge tomorrow. And here's the result. I have more than 100 new jobs that were invented by AI that could appear in the next few years. And on the other side, beyond transforming professions, AI is leading us to a new era of organizations, of augmented organizations, augmented corporations. What is an augmented corporation? It's a company that uses AI to continuously analyze its performance through algorithm and automation and benefits from this reactivity and proactivity to be aligned with their positive impact and vision about not only their market, but the whole society. It's an AI that is able to use AI to adapt its performance to the situation where it is. It's a company that is able to adapt in real time its resources, for example, using forecasting, using optimized resources, targeting recruitment, automating tasks, perhaps even continuous training, because you have to be trained and you have to be adapted continuously depending on this revolution. It's also because we are in a world of perpetual transformation and skill adaptation, an organization that is able to use AI to help their people to learn continuously, to personalize with the learning journey, with educational content, adapted, personalized, customized by each of the persons that are in the organization. And also facilitate collaborations among teams. And finally, it's about putting humans at the heart of business processes. It involves converging human intelligence, artificial intelligence, and collective intelligence to serve the prosperity of the enterprise, the company, the corporation, and its mission. These are the principles that guide the use of AI in a way to have a positive impact through augmented enterprise, augmented corporation, augmented organizations. And this transition from the digital enterprise, the digital company we've seen in the past decade, to augmented enterprise is a phenomenon we have already experienced. We have witnessed the transition from the traditional enterprise to the digital one, okay? It was what happened in the past decade or even the last 20 years with the explosion of the internet. But the major difference between the AI revolution and the internet revolution is that the transformation is much more faster. This transition is going to be abrupt. It's going to be disruption. Of course, it will generate turbulence. Of course, it will generate also social movements and mobilize both private and public leaders. And this transition needs to be supported. The question is how we can support it. As I mentioned, it's going to be very quick, but there is good news. I'm sure that you are familiar with the Gartner hype curve, okay? You know, this curve is divided into 5 stages, what we call the innovation trigger at the beginning, the peak of inflated expectations, then the truth of disillusion, then the slope of enlightenment, and finally the plateau of productivity. And generative AI is entering in the truth of disillusionment. This is the period where we're entering now. And you know, the good news is that it's the best time to be prepared. You don't have to wait. You have to jump in it. And the question is still the same: how we can how we can be prepared. If we try to be quick, there are 3 solutions, 3 options you can have. The first one is to be fast and furious. It's what we call the fast and furious approach. You can test and use very quick solutions coming from the market. You can learn and adopt agile approach in the lab mode. You can be able to use the new technology through usage of product coming from startups like Midjourney, like ElevenLabs, like HiGen, like OpenAI, and be very agile, okay? And you have to, don't be afraid about the mistake you can make. But don't forget that it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of money, and it takes a lot of agility. And sometimes big corporations are not ready for that. But the good news is that there will be a consolidation. We are entering into a consolidation phase because all the features, all the products you see in the market are continuously integrated into the big solutions coming from the big actors like Google on one side and Microsoft on the other side. Don't ask me about Apple. They're really, really far away to integrate these technologies right now. We'll see what will happen in the next few weeks or months. But right now, the 2 actors are Microsoft, firstly Microsoft, because they're really, really close to OpenAI, and on the other side, Google. And their features, the features coming from all the startups, all the products that are in the market are integrated into standard suites like Microsoft Copilot that maybe you're using every day. I don't know if it's the case. But if it's not the case, maybe it's going to be the case in the next few weeks or months. Or Google Duet. Google Duet is the equivalent of Microsoft Copilot. The second strategy is to be pragmatic. The pragmatic approach is an approach where you develop your own apps based on proprietary APIs like OpenAI or Microsoft Copilot or Google Workspace Duet, and integrate it in your own applications. Okay, so you use the APIs You use their system, but you create your own application. This is exactly what we've done in our company. The short demo I showed you before is using this strategy, pragmatism. We can change the models wherever we want. We can use open source models. We can use the most accurate model, which is OpenAI GPT-4. We can use Llama, which is the meta model. But the application, the core application is not changing. It's our application, and we create our own business's rules inside those applications. And finally, the last solution, which is really conservative, is to use only open source solutions on a dedicated infrastructure. And there are many open source models like Llama, like Falcon, like Mistral, which is a French model, by the way. And if you do that, you have to accept that your solution will be less powerful than the big ones like OpenAI with Microsoft, but you will be 100% sure that everything that is done using this application will be inside your infrastructure. You will be sure that your content, data, not 100%, maybe 90% or 95%, and we'll see why, will be managed into your systems and not be leaked outside. Because when you use, for example, ChatGPT, you have a risk that your data will be leaked outside. In all cases, data sovereignty is not guaranteed. You have to understand that. We always hear right now in big corporation the problem of sovereignty of the solutions, and particularly the fact that the main solution, the most advanced solutions, are deployed by non-European actors. But today, even if you use the most conservative approach, don't forget that your data will be in 95% of the cases stored in non-European data centers, because the capacity of the infrastructure is not existing in Europe. You don't have enough powerful data centers in Europe to run these kind of models. You have to run it through Amazon, through Google, through even Microsoft. So you're not 100% sure, at least with the American Act, that your data will not be leaked in a way. Or so sovereignty is really hypothetical. Okay, so the excuse of sovereignty is often a solution to justify the fact that we have to wait. And the problem is that inaction is the worst mistake you can make. So don't wait. Don't wait. You have to embrace this revolution. And don't forget that everything is moving very fast, as I told you. For example, the departure of Sam Altman from OpenAI to Microsoft is a big news. We are not sure that the deal is 100% done. We are in a situation of high instability. We can see also on the open source ecosystem a lot of things happening. Llama by Meta is developed. Mistral, which is a French startup for small and powerful AIs, has been released in the past months. We can see Alfred 2 by Lighton, also a French startup. We've seen Yann Lequin and Xavier Niel building a new lab for open source AIs last week with 300 million euro budget in France to build a European model or European set of models. So everything is moving very fast. So whatever the approach you'll choose in this highly unstable situation, you have to choose a way. You don't have to wait. And proceeding, you have to be also cautious. You have to be very careful, at least about 5 things. First of all, confidentiality and data privacy. You have to be very careful about every data you put into those systems. Very, very careful. Secondly, about authenticity. Verify every content that has been generated using AI. You are responsible of the data you're using, even if it's generated by an AI. Careful also about legal and security issues. You don't know exactly if the content that has been generated is not coming from a data set that has been stolen. We have a lot of examples of legal issues based on this problem. So if you use this kind of tools, use your own data sets and be sure of the source of the content. And finally, don't forget that it's a tool. It's not magic. It's a tool. So you have the responsibility of how you use it. The same way you use Word, PowerPoint, I don't know, Photoshop, or whatever. It's a tool. You are in the center of the process. You are deciding how you use it. You are responsible as a human for the way you use it. And finally, transitioning to maybe an augmented organization or augmented corporation is, first of all, a human challenge. It's a human challenge. It's not a technical challenge. To overcome this challenge, it's crucial to have support and commitment from everybody in the organization for this transformation. And to do so, you have to be sure that AI benefits all stakeholders in the organization. What I mean by stakeholders is shareholders, of course, through the improvement of the company performance, that's clear. For customers, because by using AI, you will reach a better competitivity, better productivity, so the quality will be better, and maybe the price will be lower. But finally, for the employees, not by eliminating jobs, but by eliminating some tasks, and particularly boring tasks. It will allow you to boost productivity. And because of that, maybe also increase compensation and improve quality of life. And this is why it's maybe the crucial aspect of this transformation. Thank you very much.